Morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're watching this. You know who I am by now, and it's time for some video game reviews. These two games I'm about to review I picked up at MagFest. As many of you know, I went to that earlier this year, and I've been reviewing a lot of the games I bought. Now this particular one is two games from a franchise I enjoyed as a child. Now unfortunately I do not have the second one, but I will go over that one a bit to explain what the plot is of that one, because I do know the plot of it. But let's get to the first game in the series, shall we? Gex. Yes, I actually have. This is the big old box. Believe it or not, back then this is what they came in for the PlayStation 1. I'll tell you how old this is. Look, it actually has two previews in the box for Legend of Kain, Blood Omen, and Blazing Dragons. Now, Gex is pretty much, long story short, and Gex 3 as well, is a platform game. Now, the Gecko talks, and by the way, Gex 1 is the only side-scrolling game in the series, so that's unique about this one. And Gex is voiced by Daniel Crude, who is an HBO comedian at the time. Yeah. So there you go on that. Yippee woohoo yada yada yada. Anyway, pretty much the story and plot of these games differs from somewhat of each one, but it still remains the same. Gex pretty much loves television. And one day while he's watching it, at least in the first one, he gets sucked in by the main villain called Rez, the overlord of the media dimension, who had entitled to make Gex his new mascot and conquer the world. Now in the first one, Gex traveled through the worlds of media dimension. First world he encountered was an enormous dome surrounded by 4 large TVs. Throughout the large TVs, collected remotes and defeated the various world's guardians. Gex also collected pieces to other remotes, which allowed him to travel to a mysterious planet X. Once Gex managed to collect all the world's remotes, the dome opened, he could travel to Rezopolis, the capital of the media dimension. Once inside, Gex defeated Rez in a head-to-head battle using one of Rez's own mechanical bugs. Rez transformed into a ball of energy, escaped through a hole in the dome. Gex was then teleported back to his home in Malibu, looks back, and his last words in the game were, "Hey cool, I wonder what's on HBO." Now, like I said, the levels pretty much, like it said, are pretty much television wars. So you'll be going through different ones. As I can't remember all the words off the top of my head, unfortunately. But there's Halloween, cartoon. That's really all I can remember, unfortunately. Yeah, because this one does not get played a lot by me. I mean, it's a good game, don't get me wrong. But Gex 1, probably out of the three, is the one a lot of people don't like to play, simply because of the fact of there was a password system, but believe it or not, you could not save on the PS3 unless you had to remember the password. Yeah, that sucked. But here's the thing though, originally on the 3DO, players must save progress on the system's Intel memory. Other versions use the password system instead. To receive a password or gain access to the 3DO's internal memory, the player must find a VCS tape hidden in the level. The tapes are usually hidden every other level in the world. Now this came out originally, first came out on the 3DO, November 16th, 94. PlayStation will get it 1 year later, December 13th, and Sega Saturn would get it here in the North America in 96. Microsoft Windows also got it in 96 as well, November 7th. Now it was released in the PlayStation Network for us in America, November 5th, 2009. Europe got it December 21st, 2011, so that shows you how well that's going. Now, before I get to Gex 3 and deep cover Gecko, I need to talk about 2 for a little bit. That's the only one I don't own, simply because of the fact of it's one of those games I have been having trouble finding here in the States. Gex Enter the Gecko, also known in Europe as Gex 3D Enter the Gecko, and in Japan as Spintail. The platform game released in 1998. It is the sequel to the 1994 game Gex. The game involves collecting 3 types of emotes to unlock different levels in to aid the fight against Rez. Now, by the way, I just want to say something. All of these 3 games were developed by Crystal Dramatics. Alright? Many people forget that company now. I just want to talk about that as well for a bit before I continue with Gex 2. It had a very good history. Believe it or not, it is still around. To a degree. I mean, it is still around. I mean, it is doing Tomb Raider again, the newest one that comes out in March 5th. It's the so should be interesting to see that. But anyway, back to Gex 2. Gex 2, like I said, has been a little bit of a pain to find for me, so I cannot officially review it. But the plot pretty much is the same, somewhat the same as the first one. You're going back on TV War to go against Rez and beat him again. Now, I do know the levels for this one. It's the cartoon, horror, which was Scream TV, the Rocket Channel, Circuit Central, Kung Fu Theater, the Prehistory Channel, Rezopolis, and Channel Z. Now, yada yada yada. Now, Gex Enter the Gecko was built upon the same engine that was used for the first Tomb Raider game. Yup. And the combined efforts of Crystal Studio and Eidos Interactive originally wanted to relaunch the character with the technology it had to work with at the time and impress the entire world. Developers of the game were huge fans of The Simpsons and built a comedy set based upon the style of humor. Yeah. So yippee for that. Now, the game takes place in a large hub filled with several TV screens based on various genres, parodies, versions, and genres from Looney Tunes to Star Wars. Each level has about 3 months to collect, as an additional one for collecting 120 collectibles within the level. Now, this one, we've seen positive reviews as well, like the first one. A lot of people gave it a very good rating. Unfortunately, like I said, I cannot do it because I do not own it and I cannot play it. So, it's one of those games where, hey, if I'm lucky at next year's MacFest, if I find it, I will buy it, and I will play it, and I will review it and give it a proper review. But till then, it gets pushed aside, unfortunately. Now let's get to the third and final game in the Gex franchise. Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko, also known in Europe as Gecko Deep Cover Gex, Deep Cover Gecko, is the last in the trilogy of the Gex video games. Wood Dwarf star Danny John Elias provided the voice for Gex in the UK and European release, while comedian Daniel Crude repurchased the role for the American release. Also, believe it or not, Playboy model was playing Agent Extra, the only character that's featured in live action. Unlike the last games, passwords are not used for saving. So memory expansion control pack for the 64 or memory card for the PlayStation 1 is the only option for saving. Like the other previous titles, and I have not stated this, but I'm doing it now, the N64 version is lower res, featuring no FMM sequences, and rated E, removing the adult content. Now the plot for Gex 3 is pretty much this. Gex is at home watching the news. On his TV one day he discovers Agent Extra, the agent from Gex Enter the Gecko's backstory, head of the TV terrorist defense unit, has been reported as missing. She then contacts him via his TV, telling him that Rez has returned once more and has kidnapped her to get to Gex. He teleports to the Batcave like a layer he has in the media dimension and begins another adventure. Each level parodies a certain aspect of television culture. Here the levels exist as standalone channels. With the help of his newly aided turtle butler Alfred, I think they're ripping on Batman on that one in my humble opinion, and new friends Rex and Cuz, Rex manages to destroy Rez once again. Now gameplay is similar to the last one. you know, is similar to Gex and the Gecko, with the addition of certain vehicles such as a tank, camel, and snowboarder. Yes. Now the levels in this one are very different. You had a lot of different levels this time. You had a Sherlock Holmes level, the Mystery Channel. You had a Christmas area, and many others. I mean, I think even one of the matches takes place in a wrestling ring. You know. Now the game is very good. I mean, I enjoy it. But again, I enjoyed all the Gex games. It's one of those weird, goofy games everyone enjoys. Now, there were some differences between the PS1 version, and has FMZ cutscenes for the intro and outro, as well as whenever you first beat a level. Now, the PS1 and N64 each have one unique level to their version. Both are labeled the Mythology Network and have a ruined tassel, but otherwise they're completely different. Neither version shows a single mission objective or share the same layout. The PS1 version is set out in the open air, has flowing water, clouds underneath, and is well lit. The 64 version, on the other hand, is properly like set in lava-filled caverns that is dark and gloomy. Now believe it or not, there was a Game Boy version for this called Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko, and was titled Gex 3 Deep Pocket Gecko. Now, this originally came out March 1st, 1999, so it was near the end of the PlayStation era. The 64 got it August 31st, a few months later. It is on the PlayStation Network, by the way. Came out October 1st. Now, for me, Gex 3, it's one of my favorite games. It's in my top 20 games. It's actually number 15. You know, so it holds a place in my heart, and so does the Gex franchise. Unfortunately, like I said, this would be the last Gex game for Sony. As a matter of fact, the last Gex game, period. He never really got the got the jump to PS2 or any other new system. So he's still pretty much in the 90s, which to a certain extent that's not bad, because he was a lot of one-liners, back in pop culture. Nowadays people don't like it. Don't believe me? Look at the Doom game. That game was crap. Now, but how do I feel about the Gex games? Well, Gex 1, I give it a 3 out of 5. I mean, it is good, but having the password system back then, that was probably one of the few things that pissed people off about it. I mean, yeah, trying to write down the password and then hope you don't lose the damn thing is a pain in the ass. But this was a first test for these guys, so I kind of let that pass, but I really can't. So this gets a 3 out of 5. Would pick it up on the PlayStation Store. I think it's about $5. I paid $10 for this. So, you do see the price sticker here that says $15, but I got it down to go to $10. So yay for that. If you can find it, try to find it in the collectible box if you can. As far as for Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko, I paid $1 for this. The one who was saying he was trying to get rid of all his PS1 games because of his shop closed. And that sucks, but hey, I walked out clean with a lot of good games. This was one of them. I give this a 5 out of 5. I know I really don't do that for PS1 games too much, but this is one of my favorites. It's definitely worth a 5 out of 5 for me. If you can find it, or if you want to buy it on the PlayStation Store, I would definitely recommend it. You will not hate this game, Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. Definitely would recommend it. Well, that's it for the Gex 1 and 3. Like I said, if I get Gex 2 at MagFest next year, I will review it, and I will give it a proper review. I might even go back to these two games again and see if my opinions have changed about them within a year. But I highly doubt it. So until then, this is your boy, the DOUG, saying goodbye, and have a great day.